Hello and welcome to Talk Wargaming. Steampunk and Lovecraftian fiction are firmly seated in popular culture. The whole Victorian aesthetic mixed with advanced technology and gothic horror really has a certain appeal. Well, the game I'll be looking at today explores both of these themes. Allow me to introduce Empire of the Dead. Empire of the Dead is a 28mm skirmish game crafted by Westwind Productions, who you may remember from our Secrets of the Third Reich video. The game is set in alternate history London towards the end of the 19th century. The technological growth has accelerated following the discovery of the mineral Infernium, and as a result, steam-powered exoskeletons and Tesla-based weaponry are commonplace. However, the forces of evil have awakened and are descending upon the smog-filled streets of London. So first of all, we have the Brotherhood, which these represent the church in Empire of the Dead and are sworn to protect the faith against the forces of darkness, such as the vampires. This box contains 6 miniatures. You get 1 deacon, 1 confessor, and 6 brothers armed with a variety of weapons. So let's zoom in and take a better look at the models. So here we have the 8 miniatures found inside the Brotherhood starter set. We have the deacon up here, along with the confessor and the 6 brothers armed with a variety of weapons. The aesthetic of these models generally takes the form of some kind of traditional medieval monks, so you can see them wearing the habits there, and they've got like the rope belts and chains and books and everything, all those kind of things you'd associate with battle monks. What I especially like about these miniatures is the tonsure hair styles that they're sporting, so they've got kind of got the bald heads and the hair just around the side of them. As you can see, these are white metal pewter miniatures. The casting quality is pretty good. There's not really much in the way of mould lines. There is a slight bit of flashing on the cross here, but nothing too much. The only miniature that actually comes in 2 parts is the deacon here. Here we have his cape here, which kind of just clips on the back in that hole that you can see. So apart from him, all of the other miniatures in this range are single cast. So that was the Brotherhood. Let's take a look at the next faction. Remember the evil I mentioned earlier? Well, these guys are it. The Nosferatu faction is hell-bent on enslaving the world of men and destroying the technology that they despise so much. The Vampires box set contains everything you need to get started with the Nosferatu faction. Inside you get 1 vampire graph, which is the leader, a consort, a guardian, and then 3 thralls. You also get 2 bat swarms, which aren't actually featured on the back of the box here. Let's take a look inside. So here we have the vampire starter set contents. We have the thralls, the guardian, the consort, the graph, and also the 2 vampire bat swarms, which were not featured on the back of the box. So the bat swarms are particularly interesting. They are a whole kind of mass of bats resting on top of a gravestone. You've got 2 of these, one which is like a larger one and one's a smaller one. The vampire leader itself, the graph, is very traditional in style, very gothic in his outfit, and he's got the long traditional black hair as well. What I really like about the thralls and the guardians, their tattered outfits, which are very kind of reminiscent of rural Eastern Europeans, which kind of fits into the background of where these guys are from. So as before, these are white metal pewter miniatures, and they all are also single cast. In terms of the mould line, there's very little on there. Slight ones along the sides of the bodies, things like that, but it's nothing that couldn't be easily resolved with a file or a hobby knife. So that was the vampires. Let's move on to the next faction. The men of power within Empire of the Dead's London are portrayed by the Gentlemen's Club. These high society types plot and scheme for their queen and country, but also their own and often selfish needs. You can get started with these well-to-do types with this box set in, which comes with 8 gentlemen. Now, these are just fairly generic, but you can use each of the miniatures to represent the different ranks within the Gentlemen's Club. Let's take a look at the miniatures inside. So here we have the 8 gentlemen that are found within the Gentlemen's Club faction. They're armed with kind of a variety of different weapons, mostly firearms and swords and canes, those kind of things. Nearly all of them are wearing top hats, apart from this guy who's wearing a smoking jacket and a hat to match as well. So the kind of aesthetic that's been gone for is very high society types from the Victorian period. Obviously, which is kind of reflected in not only top hats, but a few of them have got monocles and canes, and it's all very high society. One of my favourite miniatures out of this set is probably this guy right here, who's sporting a pair of very steampunk-looking goggles on his head. But yeah, apart from that, I mean, I really do like the whole kind of style of these guys. It's very, very Victorian London, and it really fits kind of with what the Gentlemen's Club really are. So let's take a look at our final faction. Trying to maintain the peace on London streets are the Bobbies. The Bobbies were not part of the original 4 factions as the Vampires, Gentlemen and Brotherhood factions were. They were added as part of the Requiem release. These rules for these can be found in the Gents and Jackanapes supplement, which is also released as part of this. In this box you get 8 miniatures, you get 7 Bobbies, 1 armed with a bullseye lantern and a detective as well. Let's take a look at the miniatures inside. So here we have the contents of the London Bobbies Set 2. Here we have the 7 constables and also the detective here. They're all armed with truncheons except from this guy, who's armed with a bullseye lantern. They are dressed in the traditional outfits of the London policemen at the turn of the century, and also sport the traditional policeman's helmet. The detailing on these miniatures is extremely nice. The buttons are picked out on the front of the uniform, and also the chain as well there. They are all single cast as before, but they're all in different poses, so you're not going to get the same thing again. There is also a second set of these available, which are armed with a few more kind of supernatural fighting gizmos. They've got net launchers and preambulator boots and all those kind of things. As well as the starter sets that we see, in Westman Productions also produce these individual blister packs with special characters. This here is the Jack the Ripper character, and it comes in a blister pack. Let's take it out of here and get a close look at the miniature. So here we have Jack the Ripper. I really like his very dynamic and open pose, and he's got his trademark knives in both hands. Now, of course, no one knew what Jack the Ripper looked like because he was never caught, so he is wearing his bandana across his nose and his mouth as well, and he's got his cape billowing in the wind there. So this is just one example of the great range of single miniatures that Westwind Productions create as part of this Empire of the Dead range. There's many other characters such as Holmes and Watson, Jekyll and Hyde, Captain Nemo and the crew of the Nautilus. All these kind of stories that you would associate with the Victorian era are represented in Empire of the Dead in some way. So there we have a selection of the factions available for Empire of the Dead, and we've taken a look at some of their miniatures as well. I really like the universe that's been created for Empire of the Dead, and there are many more factions available other than those seen here. The miniatures were nicely detailed and single cast, which means you can get to painting them in no time. However, the fact that the miniatures are single cast does limit you in terms of customization and variation. But this is a skirmish game where you only need a few miniatures to get you going, and there are plenty of additional models available to complement what you get in these starters, so it's not too much of a problem. Overall, I would say that I'm very happy with my first taste of Empire of the Dead, so expect to see more of this range in the future. Don't forget to visit us at talkwargaming.com, where you can find news, reviews, tutorials and more. I'll pop a link in the description for you. You can also subscribe to be kept up to date with our latest videos. If you would like to pick up some of the miniatures yourself, I have included a link to Westman Productions store in the description. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.